What is up, y'all? Welcome on back to another review, and this is going to be my non-spoiler reviews. I will not be spoiling any big moments or big action set pieces for this movie, as I think this is a movie that you 100% need to go see in theaters. This is a theater movie to me. And we'll dive into that a little bit more in just a second. But F1 is obviously a Formula One racing car movie. It is a sports movie through and through. It stars Brad Pitt as Sonny Hayes and Damson Idris as Joshua Pierce. And these are two guys that are butting heads the entire time. They are teammates on this really, just think like Detroit Lions 0-15 season, like this shitty racing car team. But Brad Pitt's character Sonny Hayes comes out of retirement to mentor and team up with that younger driver Joshua Pierce. And I think this movie is absolutely phenomenal, guys. Joseph Kosinski, who directed Top Gun Maverick, directed this movie. So if you liked Top Gun Maverick and how just amazing that movie was, guys, let's be for real here. Top 10 movie all time for me. He does a great job of bringing those action set pieces and how well that movie was filmed to this one. And you get some really dynamic and thrilling racing car scenes. And the way it's shot, it puts you right in the cockpit of these Formula One cars. And a lot of the times you are really close up with the camera. It's like their hands are like right here in front of the camera. Like you are close up and personal with the drivers. And it is just shot so damn well that you cannot turn away. These scenes are really, really great. It might not be as exciting as Top Gun Maverick. I still think that the ending sequence of that movie, there's nothing here in this movie that really gets up to that level. But nonetheless, these action set pieces are really, really great. And they give you a lot of them. There are so many races in this movie. I wasn't expecting that, to be completely honest with you. I was expecting, 3 or 4. 70% of this movie is just them driving. And that really helps with the pacing of the movie, considering the fact that it is a 2.5 hour long movie. Which makes me want to mention my first negative about the movie. I don't know if this needed to be 2.5 hours long. I'm thinking that they could have shaved off 15 minutes of this and made it a little bit tighter. And I think this movie would have just blown by and it would be just an overall better movie. But with that 2.5 hour runtime, they do a lot of character developing in those moments. They give you a lot of quieter moments, which I really appreciated. But I can't help but think that could this movie be a little bit better if it was just a little bit shorter? Now, with all that being said about the characters, I do feel like I have to mention one thing about this movie that I don't feel like it's a negative. I don't feel like it's a turnoff. And I don't feel like people are going to stay away from this movie because of these reasons. It's just something that I do want to mention. So I mentioned a few minutes ago that this was a sports movie through and through. If there was a sports movie cliche that has been done before, it is most likely in this movie. It is full to the brim with cliches. It is your typical sports movie just through and through. And I don't want to give specific examples because I want to keep this non-spoiler as possible. But I really don't think that they do anything original here in terms of it being a sports movie. Yes, the action sequences are dynamic, they're thrilling, they're exciting, whatever synonym that you want to use for those action set pieces. They're fucking great. Okay. I don't want to undersell any of that. It is worth going to the theater to see all of that in action, especially with the score, which we'll get into in just a second. The fact of the matter is, a lot of this movie is filled with cliches and stuff that you've seen in other sports movies. Now, on the flip side of things, I do want to mention that every time that they get right to the edge of it being eye-rolling, they're able to peel it back and not go that far. So yeah, while the movie feels familiar if you are a huge fan of sports movies. Now, a minute ago, I mentioned the score, but I want to talk about the score and the sound design. So Hans Zimmer did the score for this movie, and I thought he knocked that shit out of the park. There's this great blend of almost kind of like EDM music, like music that you would hear in a racing car video game of sorts. And it combines that with his traditional Hans Zimmer sound that it doesn't seem unfamiliar, but it is really fucking good. The score the entire time is great. It's combined with the sound design that I'm not sure that I'm a huge fan of. So what I mean by that is when you go to the racetrack, it is loud as shit, right? And while that does feel authentic in the context of the movie, there are times where I couldn't really understand or hear what these characters were saying during the action set pieces because we had the announcer in the background loud as shit. And I just wish they would have dialed that back just a little bit. Like, just improve the sound design just a little hair and make that announcer just a little less loud, that I can hear some of what's going on in these cars while they're racing. But on the flip side of things, I get it. They have trouble hearing, so they kind of showing that authentic feel of a race. So I understand it. But from an audience perspective, where I'm trying to hear everything that's being said, this movie is going to be better once I watch it with subtitles in that regard. So overall, guys, I think this movie is absolutely fantastic. It is worth going to the theater, spending your hard-earned money to go see this in the biggest screen possible. I had a fantastic time watching it. In fact, once I finished it, I wanted to go watch it again. It is a entertaining movie through and through. I really want that to be something that I want to hit home with y'all a little bit more. You go to the movies to be entertained. This is the definition of a summer blockbuster movie. You want to go, you don't want to hear about politics or them trying to push some sort of agenda or anything like that. You just want to go, turn your brain off, and just be entertained for 2.5 hours. This movie does that from beginning to end. The characters are likable. You got some great performances from Brad Pitt and Damson Idris and some of the other actors in this movie. I just think through and through, this is an entertaining movie, the quote unquote blockbuster of the summer. This is going to be up there. This movie 100% has that potential at being a top 10 movie of 2025. So go see this movie in theaters on the biggest screen possible and just kind of turn your brain off and just enjoy it from beginning to end. But guys, if you have seen F1, give me your non-spoiler thoughts in the comments. And while you're there, hit that like and subscribe button. That would really help us out. And with that being said, that's going to be it from me. I will catch y'all next time on the next episode. Laters.